Hey guys, this is Kerry Steller from In the Girls Corner, and I am here with Jillian, Lionheart, DeCoursey. And I just wanted to say, one, congratulations on signing with Invicta. I know you've been waiting a long time.
Yes, I have. It's been definitely a while in the making, but finally it happened.
I just want to know, one, when did you start doing mixed martial arts, and what style did you start in?
Technically, I had my first fight in September of 2014, but I started training jujitsu probably I want to say 8 years ago, and that's kind of where I started. And then I started to mix in Muay Thai a little bit. Then I got really into competing in jujitsu, so kind of Muay Thai fell by the side. And then, once I started fighting, then I started getting back into everything.
And you had your first fight in September 2014, correct?
Yes.
And who was your first fight for?
It was for Aggressive Combat Championships, and I had fought Destiny Quinones.
That was your first fight?
Yep.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, you fought at strawweight, correct?
Yeah, I fought at my first I had 9 fights, so my first 7 fights were at strawweight.
Now, how much more comfortable are you at atom weight?
Oh, I'm so much more comfortable. I feel like that's where I belong. At strawweight, I was trying to gain weight to fight.
I was going to say, you look like you walk around at about 110, which is probably not a crazy weight cut for you.
Now that I put on some muscle, it's like I usually walk around around 115 or so.
So it ain't hard to cut down that 10.
Yeah, no, it's not too bad. I usually do about 5 in water, so then it's easy to put back on the weight, and then you step in the cage a lot heavier, so... But strawweight, I was definitely, you could, when you look at the pictures from my fights, I was way smaller than all my opponents.
I could imagine, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't really feel it. The only fight I actually felt smaller was the fight I lost, and that was just because I didn't have time to really train for it. It's good on a week's notice, and it was all right, I didn't have time to build up muscle and do my whole little routine.
I was going to say, you always look like you're ready to fight. You're like, I can get in there right now. Just put me in, coach. Give me a person.
Yeah, but it's I guess the whole mental aspect. And, as soon as I know a fight's coming up, it's very different how I eat, just everything I do. And that kind of gets you into the flow. Like if I'm eating crappy, it might look like I'm in shape, but I don't feel it.
Because it does weigh you down a little bit.
Yeah, and you feel sluggish.
How much changes and what changes in a fight camp than as to regular training when you're training kids and training yourself?
Pretty much once we start fight camp, it's, I still teach and I still go to work and I still do everything, I have to take care of my responsibilities, but the training, the difference in the training, because I train all the time anyway, is that we add in some extra workouts in the morning. I make sure I'm running all the time instead of just when I feel like it.
Going.
Yeah. And we do a lot more sparring. And my training, it's mainly my training partners that have to adjust and train because they're doing. I don't really train with a lot of people that do straight MMA. I have a lot of people that are willing to just jump in and help me train.
Awesome.
So they kind of adapt, so they start putting on the gloves, they start doing MMA style rounds with me. So
nice.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do for a day job?
If
you don't mind me asking.
I'm actually a mental health counselor.
I was going to say, you can do a little bit if you don't want to go crazy.
No. I actually work in private practice. So it kind of complements really well, I guess, because I get to my own boss, so I get to make my own schedule. So I make everything around training.
Okay.
Which makes it so I can train all the time. But it's also interesting when you're trying to counsel people and you're sitting across from them with a black eye or something.
Do you find yourself counseling your students?
Well, a lot of parents, when they find out what I do, they're like, "That's why you talk to the kids the way you do."
Because you do. You have such a nice way about you. And I could feel that energy that there's something else going on in there. I just wasn't sure what you did apart from this.
That's it. A lot of people don't know, and it's actually kind of funny that because what do? You're going to a doctor, you're going to a therapist, you look them up online, right? So then I'll have people come in and they're like, I wasn't doing anything wrong.
You're not going to put me in an armbar, are you?
And I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm like, you can follow my fight stuff. It's out there. It's fine. But, you know, they usually are, like, kind of shocked by it.
You wouldn't expect that, but I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
it's
a good
balance.
balance. Yeah, it's definitely a good balance.
How do you get in your head to get in a fight? You know, because you are so well balanced that, like, how do you get there to be so violent? Because I've seen you fights and they're awesome. I got the pleasure of seeing Jillian's one of your last amateur fights.
Yeah, you saw that in December, right?
Yeah,
that was a good fight.
That was a beautiful fight.
Yeah, Lindsay's awesome.
She is. She's a sweetheart. She's gonna go far with that too.
Yeah, she was one of my favorite fights. So it was just such a fun fight, and you know she has such a good personality that like afterwards now we're friends. So
that's great.
Yeah, that's always good when that happens.
Now you teach. Do you teach all ages or younger kids?
Yep. Pretty much I'll teach anywhere from like our 4-year-olds all the way up through like our teens, and then myself and my teammate Bianca, who's a black belt. We kind of take like all the new females coming in like kind of under our wing and get them going. And
now that was what I was going to segue into is how amazing is it to see women's mixed martial arts grow so much, and martial arts in general. I mean, because really, you know, when you're little, and that's another question I was going to ask you is, you know, most girls, I wanted to go into fighting. That was my first thing. I said, Dad, get rid of the figure skates. Give me something that's going to, you know, get me going in here. Like, you know, did you do any other sports, or was it really, you know, martial arts was your thing?
Nope. Actually, I didn't start martial arts until I was an adult. As a kid, I mean, I played pretty much every sport you could think of. I mean, when I was really young, maybe like 5 or so, I think like my parents had me in dance, and that was horrific. I think my only memory of that is like during the recital, me sitting in the middle of the stage pouting and messing up everybody else's dance, which I think is really awesome that I did that.
I love that. I could see you sitting there like, me face.
So after that, they kind of switched it up, and I started playing like soccer. Then I started playing basketball and softball.
So you like contact sports?
Yeah.
More so
yeah. I actually played basketball in college.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a scholarship, so that's how I paid for
That's
my
amazing.
college. Yeah.
That is amazing. Where did you go to college?
I started off at University of Bridgeport, and then I finished at Hunter.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, back to the women's and mixed martial arts. I mean, you've seen it really since its inception. You've seen it grow so much. How amazing is that?
I mean, it's really awesome because it's getting so much respect now. Most people want to see the female fights over the guy fights, which is definitely really cool. And when, you know, even as an amateur, when like people know that there's a female on the card, they're like, oh yeah, we want to get there, we want to watch it. So it's definitely really cool that we're getting that respect.
Now, how great is it to be signed by Invicta FC?
I mean, it's starting to sink in now. It definitely was like pretty surreal, like. You know, I knew before we were able to announce it and everything, but I didn't. I kept telling my manager, I'm like, no, it's not real yet. I'm like, and he's like, what do you mean it's not real? You have like, yeah. And I'm like, no, it's not real. So then as soon as like the announcement came about, he's like, okay, is it real now?
Are you finally there with the realness?
Yeah, so it's definitely, I mean, it's definitely pretty awesome because that's the, you know, especially for atom weights, that's the place to be.
I was going to say, they have a nice atom weight division, which a lot of, you know, pro fight leagues don't,
right,
so to speak. UFC doesn't yet. Bellator doesn't yet, as far as I know.
No.
And I know UFC was talking about putting in other weight classes for the men, and I could only assume since they're now putting in a flyweight, they would probably do maybe an atom weight for women,
right,
which I think would be kind of foolish not to.
Yeah, which definitely would be awesome. And I mean, timing wise, it would be pretty cool because then like I get to get my, you know, my fights in, and then you know, see what happens from there.
Do you have anybody that you want to fight? Anybody you're eyeing up, or do you know when your debut is going to be?
No, I don't know any of that. I don't know when the first fight's going to be. You know, it's definitely going to be in 2017. It's just
awesome.
You know, I have to wait to see, but we're already kind of starting to get ready, and that way, you know, whenever the call comes, I'm ready to go. So
that's awesome. Now, I know that Invicta is predominantly a Midwest organization. Or do you know if they're going to be expanding out?
I mean, right now, I mean, it looks like most of their last cards they've been doing in Kansas City.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So it seems like they kind of set up like fort there and got it
Set up
going on.
camp.
Yeah, they have a nice venue there, so I mean, it's all good.
Maybe I'll be able to make it out there and actually see one of your fights, which would be the coolest thing in the world.
Yes.
You could say I saw one of your last amateur and your first fight. Can you imagine?
That would be definitely pretty cool.
That would be the coolest thing in the world. Now, what inspires you to do everything that you do? Because you do a lot. You work, you train, you teach. What drives you?
I mean, I guess it's part of it is like just the satisfaction that you get from knowing that, you know, in my one professional, I guess, my practice, it's, you know, helping people and knowing, you know, that you're making a difference in their life. And then as far as fighting goes, it's just you still make an impact on so many people. You know, I have so many, like, just people that reach out to me, or anytime, like, I'm at fights, or even, you know, random places. Like, when I go to a tournament to coach my kids, I have, like, little kids that run up to me and are like, oh, I saw you fight. And just being, like, that positive role model, and, you know, knowing that you're kind of showing people that you can do whatever you want to do.
It's true, and you're shaping the future of MMA
Right.
and jiu-jitsu and, you know, competitive jiu-jitsu, because there's so many people don't realize that there's so many different facets to it. There's, you know, fighting, and then there's competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments. And are you going to still be doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't competed in jiu-jitsu. My last jiu-jitsu competition, I did a super fight in December. I mean, not December, in September. But then since then, I've been really active with fights.
I saw that, yeah.
So, you know, that kind of takes the sideline. And it's kind of, you know, we were kind of really focusing on getting signed by Invicta. So it was like, okay, you know, you got to keep the fight stuff going. And it's really just getting good offers for jiu-jitsu tournaments now.
Yeah.
It really comes down to, like, super fights and being, you know,
Like
or, like,
worthy.
bigger tournaments. And, you know, I've definitely had some offers, but they always fall in right around fight time, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah, the fights are going to make it out.
Yeah, and I'm not, like, I mean, I know some girls, they'll just jump into everything. You'll see them doing a boxing fight one weekend,
I
a
noticed
jiu-jitsu tournament one weekend, then an MMA fight. All right, that's cool, but once you get to a certain level, it's like counterproductive.
Well, yeah, because you want to go into
Right.
one lane. You don't want to be here, there,
Right.
everywhere else, because then how can you even concentrate?
Right, exactly. So, you know, I try and, okay, MMA takes everything into it, but it's MMA jiu-jitsu is different from my regular jiu-jitsu. When I'm training MMA, you know, I don't even put the gi on. So, you know, I'm not going to jump into a gi tournament when I haven't, you know, I want to try and be at my best.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I'm not going to, I find it disrespectful to, like, my opponent if I'm not really training. And I'm like, let's just jump in.
Well, I could see that as being, you know, feeling like you want to give it your 100%. You don't want to go in there at 75 and, like,
Right.
your head's not even completely in it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, when I did the super fight in September, that was, like, probably one of the few times that I actually just kind of jumped into something. I had a lot of stuff going on in my life. I didn't really train, but it was like I needed something to, like, help me focus. And I mean, I wound up finishing by submission, so it was all right.
Oh, you can't beat
It was
that.
all right.
Now, I know that we were talking about you signing with Invicta in December. So that was a while ago. How has it been the whole lead up to it? I mean, I know you were waiting for, you know, a minute.
Yeah.
It's almost like waiting for a bus.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, my last two fights, I definitely started to feel the pressure because you know what's at stake. You know, if you don't, you know, even if you win but you look bad, that can hurt you. So it was definitely different pressure my last two fights, especially my last fight. Because we took that fight because obviously it was a title fight, but also because it was really out of my comfort zone. Most of my amateur fights have been with either aggressive combat championships or now Triton Fights. And they've all been local. It's all been within, like, Queens, Long Island. So I always had all my fans, always had, you know, my full corner. Everything was always comfortable.
Yeah.
So the last fight, we took it because it was really far away.
Smart.
You know, getting used to traveling. Only one of my coaches was able to be there. My main coach couldn't come. So it was like, all right, you know, and it was my opponent's hometown. So it was completely like just, you know,
throwing myself
there. Yeah, throwing myself to the wolves. But it worked out well, and
you got the title, so it worked out really well.
And I handled what I needed to handle, and it's, you know, it's different when you're cutting weight on the road than when you're doing it, like, in your house. So That was definitely a little bit of an experience.
But that's good because that's what you're going to be doing
Exactly.
shortly.
Yep.
Very shortly, within the next year, you're going to be, out on the road and doing that. And I think that's so huge. I really do. I think that's fantastic. Now, what, before we wrap this up, because I know you got to train. I know you got little kids coming in or something.
The little gremlins.
I want to know a little bit about your sponsors and who you want to thank and anybody you want to give a special message to. And this is your time, so take that mic and
yep. So
say what you want, girlfriend.
So mainly I want to thank my coaches, Rob Gutierrez and Eric Ruiz. Rob is my coach at East Coast United, and Eric is my striking coach out of Ring Sport Muay Thai. They dedicate so much time and just give me so much attention and just really work out every detail. And without kind of them guiding me, I wouldn't be signed to Invicta. And then my teammates of both East Coast United and Ring Sport are, really awesome. Like I said, I don't really have like people that train straight MMA, but I have some of the top jiu-jitsu girls to train with, and I have some of the top Muay Thai girls to train with, and lucky that I have people that are bigger than me, but I also have people that are close to my size, and they they're willing to mix it up and do what they got to do to make sure that I'm ready, and that's that says a lot. That they sacrifice everything to kind of help me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they're looking to take their MMA career, that's huge.
Yeah, so it's definitely it's really cool. My manager, Jason Adams at Underdog MMA Management, he's in the background all the time, but he really does so much that most people don't even know. He makes the connections. I put the work in on the mat in the cage, and my coaches and my teammates, but he he makes the connections. He talks with Invicta. He makes sure the contract looks right. He does all that stuff. He makes sure I have sponsors for my fight, even as an amateur. So I'm sure I got a whole bunch of sponsors. So yeah, so as a pro, I can only imagine kind of what kind of team he's going to put together for me. Anything I need, I can call him, ask him, and that's really, really awesome. It means a lot because I've heard like so many horror stories from especially females in the sport, where managers are just not doing what they're supposed to be and not really looking out for their best interests and kind of just looking to build their own name and at the cost of the fighters. So I'm definitely really grateful that he's a good dude. All my sponsors, I got
yes, Jillian. We talked about that. Love me, yes. Our first interview. Love me.
That's so funny.
Keep it saying that, right?
I got Fighter Alias. I got Michelle's Magic Morsels. Double Under Wonder. I got Seek Chick. I got Grit Mouth Cards, Geese Soap, Fight Prep, and Weapon Fight Gear. And
awesome.
I really appreciate that you guys being with me from the start. And I'll have your back when I get to put that Invicta banner up.
Hell yeah. And what message can you give the young I want to attack the young ladies with this because you're a woman and it's women's MMA, so I really want to focus on that. What advice do you have to give to young ladies coming up that are, feeling like it might not happen or, because it took you a minute to we were talking about this in December. So what can you give them advice-wise?
To be patient, and that if you have a goal, I don't even call it a dream because dreams are more like not reality and we think of them as like mystical things that aren't going to happen. So set a goal and keep working and don't give up, because if you put the work in, it will definitely pay off. If things aren't working out, you got to really then take a look at yourself and be like, am I really putting in the work? Because if you put in the work and you put in the time, it will definitely pay off. You just got to keep going until it happens.
That's awesome.
I actually just want to thank my family too and my friends. I forgot about them.
You did not.
Yeah, right. My family is like really, really awesome. I mean, they may not like the idea that I enjoy getting punched in the face and getting.
That's what I say to that.
But it doesn't matter. They're still there to support me. They still, are always asking about my fights. Watching all my fights, being supportive. My friends, you guys are awesome. My fans, you guys always show me lots and lots of love. It's actually kind of like, I don't believe that I have so many people that follow me.
Oh, you
and
do,
like,
girl.
no,
You
yeah.
got
And then,
that.
yeah, I go to like random places just sometimes around the neighborhood, and they're like, oh, I
You're
saw
that
you
girl.
fight. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks.
It's huge. It really, really
Yeah.
is. It really is. Well, Jillian, I wanted to thank you so much for doing another interview with me.
Well, thank you for coming and interviewing me.
Anytime, anytime. And I definitely look forward to seeing you take this to a whole nother level, because now you're going pro, which is huge, or you are pro now. So a big congratulations from everybody at In the Girls Corner and MMA UK. And, you know, you got a lot of fans on my Instagram and stuff, so everybody's really looking out for this.
Thank you so much. It's awesome.
All right, guys, this is Jillian Lionheart DeCoursey with Kerry Steller from In the Girls Corner. Thanks.